What's going on, guys? Thank you very much for tuning in today. Hope you guys are having a great day as always. As you can see behind me, the LLY is sitting here, so that means today's video is going to involve this. Finally, I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time to get the Banks tuning out of the truck. The last video you saw I attempted to, until I found out that Banks locked the ECM and I couldn't get my tunes that I wanted in there, which was PPEI tuning. So to solve that problem, from Longhorn Fab Shop, I went ahead and I got a new ECM. This would be a remanufactured, but it is unlocked. It'll be useful to me because I can load my tunes into it. Stock file is on here, licensed to my VIN number, tire size, fuel, all that good stuff, fuel tank. And eventually we'll plug this into the OBD2 port and get that going. So inside of here, we already wired the switch in on the last video. I put it right here. And then underneath the hood, unfortunately I had to reinstall all the Banks stuff. So that wasn't really a fun thing to do after I just ripped it all out. So for the second time, I'll uninstall it. And that is this mess right here of this lovely box from the 1940s. And then all this wiring is like a split harness that just splices into these main two harnesses for the engine here. After this is out and it's uninstalled, this box comes out too. The ECM is down here. And since I haven't mentioned it yet, if you didn't watch my last video, the ECM stands for Engine Control Module. Basically, it's the computer of the engine. It tells it when to deliver everything. It works all the wiring. It's just like basically the motherboard, the computer of the engine itself. And then you have three main harnesses that go to it. And then we're gonna pull it out and get the new one in here and then put these three harnesses back into the ECM, which is basically underneath this box right here. Real quick, one thing I noticed as I'm sitting underneath here looking at the ECM, this radiator hose is like basically flat. Like, see how it's flattened right there? It should be a perfect circle, but it's just real thin. And you come to the top, that's where it should be. It's like that. And the problem with this is the reservoir cap. This actually has a little valve in here to relieve pressure. What happens is it gets stuck. I'll crack it open. So that's all that was. Now it's good to go. But the way to fix that is to take this and give it some warm soapy water. So before we get too far, I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Fill this up with some warm water. Got some dish soap here as a degreaser. Put some of that in there. Take the cap, stick it in here, and I'll let that soak for a little while, and then I'll come in here and just kind of scrub around in there, and that should pretty much free that up. So now that we have diverted that crisis, let's get back to what we were actually supposed to be doing today. Hopefully this is something I never have to see again in my life, because I'm getting sick of it. I put it in the trash once, and I ended up having to take it out. So hopefully, last time for you. Now the next part is to reconnect these harnesses. Literally the easiest harnesses you'll ever use. Little ridges here, they go towards the bottom. You slide it in until it stops. And then this piece right here will bite, and it sucks it in the rest of the way. And that's it. Got the harnesses out. This cover was on top here, popped it off. And out came my ECM. So here's the old one. Here is the new one. Literally identical, just the internals of this. This is unlocked. This is locked with Banks tuning. I will send this one back to them, and they will probably unlock that and send it off to the next guy. You can probably hear it's getting very windy, so I'm kind of hoping this will go by easily here. Slipping the new ECM down and into place. Connect all these harnesses. Now before we can go ahead and start this, we gotta put that cap back on there. Got the cap, as you can hear, loosened up, all free. Before it wouldn't even spin, so good to go now. Put that on here, tightened up, good to go. Solve that problem, 2 in 1. One thing I always do is I always double check, make sure everything is tight that I worked on, make sure there's no wires anywhere, because you know how it is, you leave a tool somewhere and you forget about it. So now the fun part begins. All I gotta do is grab this auto cal here. This scan tool plugs into your OBD2 port, so if you're like me and you had an Edge CTS2 like we talked about, take that out, go ahead and plug your scan tool into here. And it's cold, so shut the door. Alright, that fires this thing up here. So if you do someday get Efi Live, say you're not with PPEI or some other brand, if you have anything that's going to use Efi Live, it's going to use an auto cal to flash the ECM. The ECM is what we just put in. So I'm going to take you step by step on how to flash this. If you don't really care, you can probably fast forward another 3 minutes, but if you do want to know how to do it someday for you or for someone else, here's how. So step 1 is going to be taking your key and you're going to put it to the on position. Not like start it, but basically if it was running, it'd be right there. So how to navigate, this button right here means back, this means like select as in okay, and this one means like down or next. So we're going to scroll down to tuning tool, and then we're going to read out the tune, which means whatever's in the ECM right now, your stock file, you want to read it and save it. You want that file, you don't want to get rid of it. So whatever your ECM type is, this is an LOY, it is an E60 ECM. That'll change depending on what you have. So unless you have an LOY, it's going to be something different than that. So we're going to select OK. It's going to say please wait. And this is where it's going to start reading out the stock file. Before, when I had a locked ECM, this is where I had the issue and it gave me some error code and it wouldn't let me read it out. So after we just reached 100 right there, it's going to do some weird things on the dash and all that. It's okay, it's normal. That means you're set to go. Turn off the ignition. So hit that off, hit OK. It'll give you a little timer just for everything to settle. Alright, so let's go back to the main menu here. Go all the way back, hit that button. And now we need to flash the ECM. The stock file is in here, it's red, we're good to go. But now we need to flash the PPEI tunes into the ECM to override the stock files that are in there now. So to do that, we're going to turn the key on. Like I said before, not fully cranked, but just to the front like the run position. Then we're going to go to tuning tool, and then you'll want to scroll down until you see program full. Right there, select OK. Yours will usually say like full DSP1, but I use this one all the time. I put my own tunes into here from PPI, but long story short, yours won't say mark default. Alright, so see I got an error here. That's the one thing I forgot about. These LOYs and LB7s, the ECMs, the tune these are terrible. And even something as simple as I have an aftermarket head unit here, that will throw you off. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the fuse for that, and then we will try this again. Alright, so under here is a fuse box. You want to pull out the info. That means like if you have OnStar or something, the radio amplifier, and the radio fuse. Alright, I got these three pulled out, just kind of sat them there so I knew where they were going to sit. 1, 2, and 3. Let's go ahead, get back into the truck. Alright, key is on now. We're going to go down to tuning tool, program full, mark the cola LOY, round 2, cross our fingers. And we have the same error. I'm guessing this has to do something with my new ECM. So that's not really what I wanted to see. So that could be quite the problem. Well, that did not really go as planned. I was hoping those 3 fuses would fix the problem, because usually it does. LOY and LB7 ECMs are so delicate to little voltage changes. So aftermarket head units and stuff like that can obviously alter that and kind of screw you up. So pulling those 3 fuses usually helps. For me, not the case. That was a code that pretty much meant something with the VIN licensing was wrong between the tunes and the new ECM. They just weren't matching up together perfectly. I don't know. So I'm sick of this. I'm just sending it out to PPEI. They're gonna bench flash it, pretty much have more control over it than I do right here. They'll have the ECM tuned and everything. All I have to do is plug it in. But the only problem is, for the 3rd time, I have to reinstall this stupid Bank 6, whatever it is, auto 6-gun tuner. Man, it's just like a nightmare. I know you guys have seen me install the thing and uninstall it about 95 times, so there's no sense of wasting your time. I was super hoping that this was going to be the time it got tuned, but by next week I should have that ECM back and it will be 100% ready to go, flashed with the PPI tunes. All I gotta do is plug it in, start the truck up, and you're good to go. Also, a couple other parts that are coming in. I'm not gonna say because I want it to be a surprise, but be sure to check out the next video with this thing, because it is going to be a fun one. Finally, a lot of parts coming on this. Change up the look, change up the sound and tuning and everything. So guys, as always, I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you for hanging in there. If you would do me a huge favor and give me a follow on Instagram, I would greatly appreciate that. Reason I push that so hard is because I believe my content on Instagram at this point in time is better than my content on YouTube. To enjoy this YouTube content, Instagram, you'll like it a lot better. Working my way on YouTube, but still figuring that out. I think I just realized I was editing the video that I never even kind of explained what Efi Live is. I know that's a very common question, and it's something I get asked a lot. We'll use PPEI for example. You'll say, well, you know, I want to use PPEI, but everyone says to choose Efi Live. Let's break it down to what Efi Live is. Efi Live is actually a company, I believe they're out of New Zealand, and all they do is sell software. They don't tune anything. They don't sell tunes for trucks. They are a software company that develops tables that enables tuners such as PPEI, Idaho Rob, Duramax Tuner, the guys you hear Efi Live from. It allows them the proper tables they need to make the adjustments and calibrations to the ECM and TCM and whatnot to be able to tune the vehicle. So Efi Live, they do not make tunes. They are a software that enables tuners to develop tunes for trucks. So that's why you'll hear people say Efi Live by PPEI, Efi Live by Idaho Rob. All those guys, you know, those are just some of the main ones that come to mind for me. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's kind of how Efi Live works. It's not actually tunes from Efi Live. Efi Live, like I said, just the software that enables these tuners to make the correct tunes for the vehicles. So with that, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. If you want to do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, shoot me a follow on Instagram, like the video. That is my oxygen to growing this movement. Just kind of sharing my knowledge with the little that I know with all you guys out there, and hopefully I can help you guys out in any way possible. And if I can, shoot me a DM on Instagram. Shoot me any question you might have about your Duramax, or just say what's up. My engagement with you is much appreciated. So guys, thanks as always, and we'll see you on the next video.